Welcome back on the show for Kansas Sports Chatter. It's time to talk some basketball with our next guest, and that is Curt Graves. He is the head coach of the Tescott boys basketball team. Hey, Coach, appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, this time of the year, like, what are you trying to work on? Like, what are some of the specifics that you're trying to, get going with your team?
So we had a really good run. Of course, we got started late. Our boys football team made it to the state semifinals, and was in that Final Four group. And so we missed that first couple of weeks of practice. And so that showed, I think, in our first game. But then we went on a 7-game winning streak. We've struggled of late. So I think for us right now, one, it's staying healthy. A lot of sickness around, and we've had a couple injuries. So getting healed up, managing that, and then just maintaining some confidence in our shooting, in what we do, and then adjusting a little bit. People, by now, you're getting scouted, and people see what your tendencies are. So really working on a lot of little things just to getting that second and third tier and second and third option of what we do offensively, or getting that second trap or that second phase of our defensive schemes, making sure we got our help side. We're helping down on the post, being able to recover, just things like that. A lot of fine tuning things, a lot of fundamental things. It's interesting. When I was an assistant coach at the college level, we worked on fundamental aspects of the game. When I was once a junior high boys coach, we worked on fundamentals, and even at the high school varsity level, we continued to work on fundamental things. So
You mentioned, the football team, and especially, the football is the big one for boys basketball that, it can butt right up against, the start of your season, maybe a week or so off. Like you mentioned, like, how do you go about combating that? Obviously, love to see the success from the fall sports, but how do you go about combating that as a winter sport coach?
Well, I will tell you the last year, because we've had that a couple of years in a row now. And I've had these guys, some of these guys I coached when they were in junior high in the summer. And then they've played a couple of years for me. So installing some things in the summer, having some camps and playing a little bit in the summer helps us. And then, in those first 2 or 3 or 4 days, this year we hit it harder than we have in the past. The first couple of years I tried to play our way into shape, and that didn't seem to work as well, because about the time you get into shape, you hit Christmas break. So this year we start out a little more diligent with our conditioning. You come in football shape, but basketball shape is a different conditioning a little bit. So you have a good base when you come in from playing football or running cross country. But there is a difference in that continuous conditioning that it takes to go up and down the basketball court. So we're a little more diligent in what we do to get conditioned. And then hopefully a lot of stuff we did right out of the gates had been review, and there's some familiarity. And so kind of that front loading is pretty key for us.
You touched on, trying to, this time of the year, trying to build up that confidence in some of your shooters. Like, anything specific that you can do to help that along? Is there anything that stands out?
Oh, I wish I knew better. For one, we're really young. We have one senior on our team. We play significantly a group of 2 freshmen and 4 sophomores right now. We would be playing 5 sophomores. I had one separate his shoulder recently. But right now, last night, the core group that played our game was 2 freshmen, 4 sophomores, and 1 junior. My one senior was homesick. So we're really young. And so confidence, we've talked a lot about shot selection. With a couple of our guys struggling right now, we've talked about doing the other things on the floor really well, and trying to get out of our own heads. But get into the flow of the game, and you in the game, taking good shots, making sure our feet are set, making sure we're open, being a little more patient at times. And then practice wise, we go back to your form shooting every day. Nothing cures confidence in shooting than seeing the ball go through the basket. So a lot of form shooting, a lot of elbow shots, a lot of block shots before we step out too far and shoot the three and stuff like that. So I think that's one. We put in a lot of drills to try to get us shooting at game speed. But I think there's a balance between a lot of form shooting and then a lot of shooting off of the move. But you need a balance of those two things. Can't just form shoot for 2 hours. But if all we ever do is shoot off the move and miss, then we're not. We've got to have a balance of those.
Curt Graves, head coach of the Tescott boys basketball team, and joining us here. You talk about that youth. Like, I know, probably every coach would just love a roster full of seniors that are veterans and they've been through it. But at the same time, does it kind of excite you that knowing that you do have those freshmen, sophomore, they're getting this experience now, and just what can be obviously the focus this year, but what you have for the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, it is exciting. And as a small school, you kind of ebb and flow with that. And so I think the real key for us is how we develop over the next 2 or 3 years, and how we not only develop individually as athletes and players, but how we develop as a team. Do we understand how to be a team? Do we understand how to be unified and to lift each other up, that sort of thing? But it is exciting. And I do think too, it's that balance of how do you honor those upperclassmen and continue to have them be good leaders while also allowing the younger some additional leeway, because, when you're young and you're thrust into some varsity experiences, you're going to make some mistakes that maybe, you have to let go, that maybe a junior or senior shouldn't be making, or shouldn't, needs
Sure.
more correction. And so that balance of honoring those upperclassmen and holding them to an appropriate standard, but also bringing your young guys along and helping people understand the difference in how you're coaching those individuals with their experience levels.
Developing players, I'm sure like many schools, you have athletes that are multi-sport athletes, and they're focusing on other things, but even the individual developments, how much do you kind of break down, okay, hey, this is what, once the season does come to an end, all right, this is what I want, to see from you, or things you can improve?
So we're a super small school. And so our athletes are pulled in every direction. I have a couple of my players. They're really good Scholars Bowl participants, and so you balance between football, basketball, and track. And so I think it's really great here. Our coaches and our coaching staff really communicate well. We work well together. Every head coach is at summer. Our weights and conditioning, we've added some plyos and some footwork stuff in our summer conditioning programs and weights programs. And so I think coaches working together and having that synergy to be able to help every athlete. I've got some really good football players that aren't as good at basketball. And I've got some really good basketball players that maybe aren't as good at football. But having coaches work together to make better athletes and develop them, because there are skills on the basketball court that make you a better lineman and helps your footwork on the offensive or defensive line. There are skills in football that help you absorb contact when you're going to the basket in a basketball game. So I think that cross training is really important. I think that teamwork amongst the coaching staff of all the sports, and being able to speak the same language is good. Basketball skill development, we play quite a bit in the summer here. And then some of the skill development outside of camp is I leave that up to our kids a little bit and our athletes. My own kid is a freshman this year for us, and he's a gym rat. And so we're up shooting, working on ball handling, working on moves frequently. Other kids sometimes come up when we're doing those things. But also, you have to know your players. You have to know what their aspirations are. And so I'll be honest with you, the older I get, the more I realize sometimes we got to let kids be kids too. So sometimes less can be more when it comes to motivation and some of those things. We played last night. We've got a game Monday, but we're taking today off. It's just sometimes we got to balance those things out and around. And so I think, that development in that off season, a little bit keys. Our coaching staff works well together all the way through. All of our head coaches are involved. I think that's really important. And then just balancing what our kids' aspirations are, what their goals are, where they want to be, and just knowing your kids intimately in those ways so that you can set some goals and meet those goals.
It's always a fine juggling act. Hey, Coach, appreciate the time, and best of luck the rest of the season.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
That is Curt Graves, head coach of the Tescott boys basketball team, and we'll have more of the show right after this.